So for a long time now, I've traveled off and on for a lot of years, and I sort of had this unofficial top 10 places to see in the world list. It's just a personal list of places that, I've always found interesting since forever. And today, I can check one of those off the list. Because today I have arrived at the Temple of the Sun. I'm kind of at a loss for words at the moment. What an amazing place. And there's fireworks going off. It seems silly to come all this way and not try and at least get up to some part of it. You can actually walk all the way to the top on this. Gonna see how far I can get. So, good news and bad news. Good news is there's fireworks. So apparently, since the pandemic, being able to climb the Temple of the Sun and the Temple of the Moon have been closed. And I've asked a couple of people and they said no. They said since the pandemic, the ability to climb them has stopped and there are no plans to reopen it. So, I was looking forward to it, but I wasn't looking forward to how I was going to feel afterwards. So I guess that's good. Anyway, we're going to explore the rest, because without all those stairs, it's going to make everything else a whole lot easier for the day. We're going to go over to the base of the Temple of the Sun and get a closer look. As close as we can. And there's also the museum is here as well, but we'll check that out later today. This place is amazing. There's so much to see here, even though I can't. Let's be real. Real talk, I wasn't going to make it to the top anyway. I'm too old, I'm too fat. My knees, my ankles. I would be so sore afterwards that I wouldn't be able to move for about 4 days afterwards. So, not to mention, it is extremely steep to get up those stairs here as well. So, and it's funny how it teases you because it's such a gentle slope here at the beginning, where you're just walking up a little ramp and then a few stairs, and then next thing you know, it's 50 degrees stairs the rest of the way up. There's actually one guy up there about halfway, you can see him or not in the white, who is a cop apparently, to make sure that people like me or others, I guess, don't try and climb up. So, what's the big deal about Teotihuacan? Well, this was a city that at its peak in the 4th, 5th, and 6th centuries was bigger than the city of Rome at the same time. It's not known exactly when this place was first founded, but it's suspected that it goes back to the 1st or 2nd century BC. This was a place of, worship, of sacrifice. Everything here is designed in a very specific way for, things like the sun and the moon and, massive temples like this. I can't even begin to describe how big this place is. I probably could look it up and I'll put it on the screen here when I do later. But I'm going to guess that this place is at least 400 feet wide from corner to corner and taller than that. So just amazing. to see the work that would have gone into this, to put this together. And not just the Temple of the Sun, but the rest of this place as well. Like, it's incredible. So one of the, I think, common misconceptions about Teotihuacan is that it was an Aztec city. And it actually predates the Aztecs by several centuries, which makes it even more mysterious because, you know, it was actually quite close to the Aztec Empire in terms of, you know, location and all of that, but it wasn't part of it. And the other mystery is that, you know, the city was a thriving city of between 50 and 150,000 people at its peak. And as far as anyone knows, they pretty much all up and disappeared within a few years. And no one really knows where they went. There's no kind of archaeological information as to what happened to the people that were here, where they went, or any of that. So it makes it all a bit more mysterious in that way, I suppose. I was definitely advised correctly to get here early before the tour groups show up. And it looks like they've started, so I'm going to keep on moving here, try and keep ahead of it. It's an example of some of the housing complex that was here at the time. And it goes over for quite a ways. So we're just making our way down the Avenue of the Dead, as it's known, towards the Pyramid of the Moon. It is remarkably unbusy here today so far, so I'm glad I got here early. I'm sure in a few more hours, weather permitting, it will be a bit more insane. So I've just come down from Temple of the Sun, which is down that way, and down the Avenue of the Dead, heading up towards the Temple of the Moon. And here on the right-hand side is a open area showing some painting and art on the wall. Must be quite the vantage point up on the top of that hill. Just wanted to stop over here on the left-hand side for a second because it's another kind of open, exposed area a little bit. The only thing making its home here now is a few lizards that I see crawling along the rocks. Pyramid of the Moon, or the Temple of the Moon, which we're coming up to here. It's interesting. It kind of, supposedly, when you're at the top, it plays a little bit of a mind trick on you because it appears to be higher up at the peak than the Temple of the Sun, but in fact it is a much shorter pyramid. It is just that it's built on a hill, so it started at a higher point. You can also see here as well how much more worn down the Pyramid of the Moon is at the top. More rounded. The stairs actually stop about 2/3 of the way up, I would say. And this is the main square around the Temple of the Moon with all these other shorter platforms around it. We'll head up there in a few minutes. And so as we come around this corner, you come up to the full detail of the Pyramid of the Moon. I'm okay for now. I'm going to finish.
You know how much cost one?
Cuando?
1,500.
Yeah. Nice.
I got a less for less. How much you pay me now?
I have to finish my tour first.
I can do it with you.
Oh, it's okay.
Not a heavy.
No, I know, but
How much you pay me? I need my first sale today.
yeah, everyone does.
You know,
I understand.
You know, he got you look a lot of people,
See?
the students, Mexicans.
Yep.
She no buy nothing.
No dinero.
No dinero, that's the problem.
See?
you maybe not much money, no? Not, see why it's nice.
Yep.
I got that one to look the sun.
Yeah.
Obsidian.
Thank you.
No, for the big one. Maybe I tell you.
We'll see.
You tell me the price. I take American money.
Yeah, I only have peso,
How much?
and I only have a little peso right now because there's no ATM here.
Uh-huh.
So
I give you low price. How much?
I don't have enough. So
I don't know what you have.
I only have like 200 on me, so it's not enough. I don't wanna get into a.
I take credit card.
I'm sure.
Money is money.
No, I know. Anyway, I'm gonna finish my tour first.
Okay, you go and I'm waiting for you.
Okay.
Maybe change your mind.
Maybe. You never know.
I give you a good price if you want thing.
Okay. So that is the other reality when you come to Teotihuacan, is that you're going to be haggled, harassed, and I'm not saying that they're not overly aggressive by any means. I think that I totally understand, as he said, they get a lot of tourists here, but it's a lot of students who are never going to buy that stuff. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm also here to enjoy the place in the moment. And, I just want to experience being here after having it on my list for so long. So we can get up pretty close here to this one. And we'll have a look. Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien.
So this is probably as close as you can get to the Temple of the Moon. It kind of loses its perspective, obviously, when you're this close to it as well. But they're amazing structures. And directly in front of it here, almost looks like more, probably not a house, but some sort of smaller building that would have been here in place with separate rooms inside. Could be rooms that were used in preparation for ceremonies and things like that at the top. So standing here, you sort of get the first part of the temple, right? And again, you can see the signs here saying, climbing the pyramid of the moon, prohibited for conservation, which is interesting because everyone else says it closed during COVID, and that was it. And you know what? To be honest, I get it. I mean, I understand that these places are thousands of years old, and having people walk on it, in the tens of thousands per day is not going to do anything to help preserve what's here for, the future. So I get it. I mean, I understand. Was I disappointed earlier that I couldn't climb the Temple of the Sun? A little bit. But in the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. Just being able to come here and wander through this place I'm having a hard time with my words today, I think, because I've waited so long to come here and check this place out and see it in person, and now here I am, and I don't really know what to say other than it's everything I thought it was going to be. And anyway, we're going to start wandering back the other way now, back down the Avenue of the Dead. We'll stop at that little Lookoff Point that everyone was up at there earlier. There's also a museum here that I wanted to check out, and there's a couple of other structures farther down the other end which you can actually go out and explore in and wander around a little bit. So we'll do that too. So let's continue our journey through the history of Teotihuacan. Significantly more people here now, and it's been a couple hours since I arrived. This place is packed up fast. Made it to the top of this Lookoff, and I can certainly see why it was popular. So you got the Temple of the Moon with the square. You have the Avenue of the Dead. And then, of course, the Temple of the Sun right there as well. It's quite a formidable vantage point for sure. Try and stay out of the way of people's photographs. You can really see the tour groups that have shown up here the last hour or so. I believe it's mostly students, but we've entered one of the main palaces here, the Palace of Quetzalpapalotl, I believe is how you say it. Although I may have butchered that, and I apologize if that's the case. Take a walk inside, have a look. So you can see some of the original painting that's here on the walls. And head up through here. Now, if I was guessing, I would say that these stone columns are probably recreations. Yeah, I would say the pieces at the top are probably all originals. So we're entering into the Temple of the Jaguars here. And yeah, it's a really cool walk in through some of these old structures. Some of the original painting there at the bottom.
Esto usualmente ustedes no lo visitan cuando no traen guía. Esto yo se los estoy dando extra ya que estamos aquí. Hay que visitarlo, ya estamos aquí, hay que aprovecharlo.
Here's another example here. So this is all part of the Temple of the Jaguar. And you can see, again, some of the art that's still here. I heard one of the tour guides mention that 80% of this building is still intact as it was originally constructed. The guy out front also said that all the painting that's here is all the original as well, which is why they asked for no flash, of course. So in these structures, as I was saying, all these paintings that are here on the walls, here and here, which are detailed here as well, are all original, as well as the paintings on the interior of the building, which is probably hard to see here. My cell phone camera actually picked it up a bit better, so that picture is here of what it looks like on the inside of the building. And here's some more exterior parts as well. It's actually a really quiet spot here in this corner. Let's make our way through.
Los extractos altos son directamente.
Está reduciendo lo demás. Hay partes que ya están, algunos fueron de ronda.
Wow.
En algunos casos, lo que nos mencionaba.
Holy. So this is the interior of the temple. This is a different one than the Jaguar one. I'll put that name on the screen here because I don't want to mess that name up at all. But this was unbelievably well preserved. Both the paint and the structures itself. See some of the detail here in the painting is just incredible. there's a gate here, but I wanted to show off this room that's sealed off at the moment. I'm assuming they're doing restoration work on it. So comparing the left side over here to the right side over here, I would say these are probably originals. These two columns, and then these two columns over here are recreations to match. Just met a very lovely couple from Korea, which was kind of fun. They wanted a picture together, so of course that was no problem. The tourist groups have really come over this side, so it is time to skedaddle and get back over to where they're not. So we're just making our way back down here past the Pyramid of the Sun. There's some more stuff down here at the end of the Avenue of the Dead that we're going to check out. Definitely quieter down this end now too, so the timing of getting here when I did has worked out really well. So we're just passing the Pyramid of the Sun, completing our journey down the Avenue of the Dead past from where we started there at the Pyramid of the Moon, and we are headed this way. So I was given this little map earlier before I came in here, and it's proved to be very handy to kind of help figure out where things are. So obviously there in the middle, that is the Plaza del Sol and Pyramid of the Sun, Pyramid of the Moon this way, and we are currently heading down this way. It's interesting because from what I've noticed, at least from what I can tell, I mean, you look that way and not a lot of people, but you look back that way and it's just thousands of people. It's almost like once people get to the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, they forget that there's like another third to this whole city. So we're just going to take a little break here for a few minutes, have some water, and then, continue on our way. So, a few tips for coming to Teotihuacan if you're planning to visit while you're in Mexico. Firstly, you can get the bus from the northern bus station in Mexico City, which is right on the subway line. The ticket to get here on the bus was 68 pesos each way, so 134 return, which was pretty cheap, I thought. It's about a 40-minute ride out of the city. So yeah, I would definitely travel that way. Don't get an Uber, because an Uber is going to cost you a lot of money to get up here between the traffic and the distance, and then you're here and you got to get back. So not really worth it. When you get here, I recommend, so this place opens I think at 8 a.m. and I recommend getting here, I get here just before 10, and that was pretty good. If you can get here earlier than that, all the better, because the earlier you get here, the less busy it's going to be, and you'll have more of it to yourself to explore. And as you probably saw so far, when I first got here, it was pretty empty. Both the Temple of the Sun and the main road, the Avenue of the Dead, wasn't very busy. So it was nice to kind of be able to have some quiet places to yourself. It's been a lot of stairs today, even without the pyramids being open. And they're all very steep stairs too. I don't know if I can show you here, but that's like 6 steps and it's almost vertical. Anyway, so if you get here early, you have more time to explore, it's quieter. Great way to do it. Yeah, so it's 12:30 now, and I would say that it's getting into that peak time of the day where it gets really busy, so keep that in mind. So my other advice is that when you get here, you get off the bus, it's entrance number 2 into the area. You pay the 95 pesos it was, to get in. And I would say what you should do is start with the Pyramid of the Sun, which is going to be right in front of you when you get here. It's far and away the largest, most iconic building here. And from there, I would say turn left and head towards the Pyramid of the Moon next. Take your time, wander, check out all the buildings. There's a few stops along the way that show some of the original paintings and artwork that are here. Then when you get up to the Temple of the Moon, you can then go to the left side, and there's more there with, Temple of the Jaguar and a few other things that have some amazing original artwork. And then once you finish up there, you can kind of come back. You can walk all the way back to the Pyramid of the Sun and keep going. And we're gonna keep on going this way. It's probably about as far, again, as it was to go from the sun to the moon, as it is to go to the sun to the temple this way. So, more stairs though. So keep that in mind. One thing to watch too is as you get past. So the main avenue is fine gravel, pretty smooth, easy walking. When you come this way, it's a lot more uneven, a lot more rocks in the way, a lot of what I'll call ankle breakers. So just be careful, because this is not the place you want to twist or break an ankle. The hospital closed here about 1,500 years ago. So we're about halfway down, and we're going to go up here to the Plaza Oeste and have a look. The West Plaza complex is probably about halfway. It appears it might be from a slightly different generation than some of the other stuff that's here. Obviously, this place wasn't, much like Rome, wasn't built in a day. But, you can definitely see a progression here of the buildings and the architecture and so on. So, in the process of the excavations of the area, one of the things they discovered was that it was multiple layers. So down here you see those two large animal heads with the stairs, and there's actually a temple underneath as well that was buried underneath the more modern construction. And according to the information that I saw, I can actually see here as well. One side you have the stairs and the giant heads, which led up into a temple underneath this new temple. There was also another one here, which you can see is covered over here now on top, but the original temple was underneath it. So over time, this whole complex, had multiple layers to it in some cases. So that gives you an idea of, not only how expansive this place is, but that it was, multiple layers over multiple generations. And so there's probably lots more here to uncover yet. You can see the ruins here of some of these buildings. Just the foundations left at this point. A hint of what used to be. So for some perspective, this is the east side over here, which hasn't been, excavated, renovated, dug up yet. And you can see just the difference between the original in state and some of the stuff that we just saw on this side that is, excavated, renovated somewhat. The amount of work that's been done here is unbelievable. More stairs. I can't imagine having tried to do 250 of these this morning. The guy there was saying that over here you can actually see the lower layer.